Hello berries, and welcome to a different type of video. As you all know, I always prided myself on being a Legion main. And I know that Legion is not the strongest killer and he's far from it, but he's a very fun and simple killer to pick up, and I hardly recommend him to players of lower rank because Legion is a very good killer to make blood points with. But we'll get to that part later. The reason I want to make this tutorial is because not many people try this killer, and the very few who do make so many mistakes with him that is becoming like almost boring to play against Legion players. So let's try to grasp the fundamentals of Legion. Legion has got rather basic attributes. You see these attributes in many killers like Ghostface, Pig, Freddy. He's a 4.6 speed killer, 115% as some of you might like to call it, 32 meter radius, and an average height. This is nothing that special, just wanted to go over it. Now, here comes the interesting part. Feral Frenzy. What is Feral Frenzy? Legion changes stance, and during this he's able to run at a speed of 5.2, 125% because I know how much you guys like numbers. And in this situation, Legion is able to run around and hit survivors very efficiently. What do I mean hit survivors plurally? Is when you hit a survivor, two things happen. One, if he wasn't injured, he becomes injured. Two, he received the deep wound status effect timer, much like the borrow time effect after you get hit. If you don't mend in time, you fall. Essentially, it's not that impactful, since if you hold W shift you can still keep going and you don't bleed out, but it does make the survivors eventually need to mend, and it will waste their time. So Legion buys you a lot of time with his power. Once you hit one survivor with Feral Frenzy, all other survivors in your terror radius are marked with Killer Instinct, like with those heartbeat thingies. So take into account that it is all of the survivors in your terror radius, which means that you will not necessarily get that survivor. Let's say I just stabbed one survivor and I start seeing all of his teammates with feral Killer Instinct. Some guy can be 10 meters away from me and might be able to get him, and another guy might be 30 meters away from me and running away. So I might not be able to get him with my power, and so take those things into account. In Feral Frenzy, you're not able to down survivors. This power is more like a crowd control ability, and it makes survivors vulnerable by being injured, so to speak. The interesting thing about Legion is when you hit someone, whether if they're injured or healthy, if they don't have the deep wound status effect and you hit them, then it replenishes your Feral Frenzy and you can keep on going. In Feral Frenzy, Legion is able to vault windows and drop pallets. Now, all of these things I bet you guys already knew. I just wanted to cover all the basic fundamentals to make sure we are all settled on the facts about Legion. Now, a few things about Legion that not a lot of players know. One, when Legion uses his Feral Frenzy, he's not able to see scratch marks or blood marks. Take that into account. That is why it's very important to activate your Feral Frenzy when you're in line of sight with the survivor and you know for a fact you're not gonna lose them anytime soon, or that you're relatively close to them. Unlike most killers when they're using their powers, for example Blight, Nurse, Hillbilly, etc., Legion is one of the very few who have control over his maneuverability. In Feral Frenzy, it can go back, forth, diagonally, to the right, to the left, and most importantly, he can interact with his environment, which means that he can do actions such as opening lockers, kicking gens, closing the hatch, and things like that. So for example, if you see a survivor running away from you while you're mid-feral frenzy, you can just, if he jumps in a locker mid-feral frenzy, you can just press spacebar and open the locker and take him out of there. The only thing you cannot do in feral frenzy are two things. You cannot perform the interrupt grab animation, like if somebody's working on a gen or if somebody's working on a totem, you can't grab them from that. And also, you can't down anybody with your ability. Legion's basic state is nothing special. He honestly doesn't have anything in his normal state. So try to take into account the basic fundamentals of that every killer has, which is moonwalking, hiding in your red light, and other mind games. Legion can make a very good use of this because he's relatively short and can hide himself around pallets and high walls. Let's go over Legion's teachables. We got 3 teachables, being Discordance, Mad Grit, and Iron Maiden. Discordance is a very interesting ability, very strong one. A very good perk for many killers. Probably one of my favorite tracking perks. When 2 survivors or more are working on a gen, you are able to see that gen highlighted in yellow from 128 meter range on the last level, which means you can essentially like see them to the edge of the map. The aura remains yellow for 4 seconds, and if it cancels of yellow, it means that there's probably one guy working there, or they have both left it. Very good perk. I heartily recommend this on many killers. His next perk, Mad Grit. When you are carrying a survivor on your shoulder, you can constantly keep spamming the basic attack ability without like a cooldown of missing. When you hit a survivor while carrying one on your shoulder, the survivor on your shoulder cannot wiggle for 4 seconds. Now this perk, in on its own, you'll rarely see it. It'll only really work great in conjunction with perks like Agitation and Iron Grasp. It's a pretty good perk, for example, like Trapper or Baba, or other killers that want to play basement builds. Other than that, this perk is quite pointless. You'll rarely see anybody getting mileage of Mad Grit if you're not using Iron Grasp and Agitation together, because you'll be just wobbling from side to side if you don't take Iron Grasp, and you're going to be too slow to actually use the miss attack cooldown if you do not take Agitation. It only works in great synergy with those 2 perks specifically. Iron Maiden, this is so embarrassing. Like, Legion is one of the very few killers that the more you unlock his teachables, the worse they are. I would actually have this rearranged the other way around. Put Iron Maiden here, Mad Grit here, and Discordance here. Never mind. With Iron Maiden on the last level, you open lockers 50% faster. When a survivor exits a locker, he becomes exposed for 15 seconds, and you see his aura as if though that he got hit by Infectious Fright for 4 seconds. This is their location is revealed. You see, it doesn't actually say that you see their aura. Now, this is the second part of this perk was quite pointless, because the second they find out you have Iron Maiden, they'll try to get into lockers less. Second of all, it's not even 4 seconds of aura reading ability, it's a 4-second like scream bubble, so it doesn't like follow the survivor around, if that makes sense. And it's only 15 seconds of exposed, so you'll most likely not be able to down the survivor if he's like really close to you. Soon this perk will be buffed slightly, and the exposed status effect will linger for 30 seconds. Now then that'll be a bit of a better perk. For the most part, this perk is pretty bad, I gotta admit. The only character that can make real good use of this is Huntress. Since she recapitalizes on reloading from her hatches from the lockers, being able to open lockers 50% faster is an amazing perk. But other than her, I can't imagine another character that will benefit from this perk that much. So, now that we have everything settled, let's talk about how you should be playing Legion. Legion is a killer that his power allows him to injure people easily. So insta-down perks are not something you ought to be usually running, since most of the time people are going to be injured. You won't really be needing insta-down perks. Legion is an amazing... he slows down the game perfectly because he's able to injure survivors easily, so it makes them focus on mending and maybe healing. And this is why a lot of people will run Thanatophobia and other perks of that caliber. But we'll get to that in a bit. When you are playing Legion, you gotta take a few things into account. Don't use Feral Frenzy to run around the map to try and find people. It'll be very difficult because you can't see blood marks, you can't see scratch marks. You should be using your Feral Frenzy only when you're relatively close to a survivor and you know you're going to hit them and a few of their friends with that one Feral Frenzy swoop. If any of you are asking, like, what's a solid build for a beginner Legion? Like, I can imagine a lot of people saying, like, Barry, I don't have all the perks, or I don't have all the killers unlocked. What do I use on Legion? Now, since Legion is able to attack several people at the same time, Discordance is an amazing perk. A lot of killers have perks that not necessarily complement them. Legion has one perk that is amazing for him. Discordance is probably one of Legion's best tracking perks. If you're a beginner player, definitely use Discordance. Second perk, this is, let's say hypothetically all you have is Legion and the base beginner 5 killers. You know, Trapper, Wraith, Hillbilly, Nurse, and Huntress. I would recommend using Discordance. I would recommend using Thanatophobia, which is a perk by the Nurse that you can unlock at level 40. Everybody can unlock it. Nurse is something that is accessible to everyone. For each injured, dying, or hooked survivor in the match, you have 5, 10, 15, or 20% slowdown for repairing, sabotaging, and totem cleansing. Legion is probably the best utilizer of this perk. I hardly recommend using this perk on him. I use it all the time. I barely take it off. For beginner players, I also recommend Sloppy Butcher. Legion only relies on eventually downing people with his basic attack. So you will be applying the Sloppy Butcher effect eventually. And for example, if you see that there is a survivor by himself on a generator, and you feel like his friends are very far away, and you won't get him with Feral Frenzy, then there is no point in entering Feral Frenzy. You should basic attack him and just continue from there. Another perk that is very good perk on Legion is either Brutal Strength by the Trapper or Enduring. Legion in his 1v1 doesn't have anything that promotes his capabilities. Like, Freddy has snares that slow down survivors around loops. Doctor can shock survivors to prevent them from dropping pallets or vaulting windows. And Nurse can, I don't even need to explain, like, she can blink through walls and change completely the rules of looping. Legion doesn't have anything in his 1v1, and that is why you should at least have one chasing perk. Plus, I'm gonna teach you a little trick that you can do with Enduring to cancel your Feral Frenzy more efficiently. We're gonna play with no add-ons. Let's say that we're all beginners and we just unlocked all of these perks and this is all you've got. You can still play Legion fairly well. Remember, I might not be able to win with this build. I am playing on red ranks. On red ranks, it's probably required to have perks such as Hex Ruin or Pop Ghost to actually gain much more mileage. So let's see how it goes. Alright, so the survivors chose a pretty survivor-sided map. So we're on Torment Creek. It's not the worst map. Could have been Rotten Fields. So when you're a Legion, just try to look around, walk around the gens, make sure that... Yep, you see that? Discordance right at the start of the game. They're probably survive with friends and they're like, dude, let's work on this gen together. You're getting all the information you need with Discordance to prevent early gen rushing. Let's hide our red light by walking like this. And Felix is right here. Hello, dude. What's up? I'll basic attack him because I don't want to get a very long stun with Feral Frenzy, and I also want to apply the Sloppy Butcher effect. We're going to do the same with Steve here. Hey, Steve. What's up, dude? Actually, I see some scratch marks. Yep, there's your friend right there, man. Did you see that? Like, I was able to cut her off because Legion can vault through windows. It's very comfy. I could not have applied the Sloppy Butcher effect. Sloppy Butcher only works with a basic attack. But she still has to mend. And that's a big time waster. Let's walk like this. Oof, these guys are gonna make me sweat. Let's enter a Feral Frenzy. Stab this guy. Ooh, I actually thought I was gonna reach that. The Legion's FOV is a bit strange when he's in Feral Frenzy. Do notice that, man. Discordance once again. They're definitely survive with friends. Look how much information I'm getting, man. Kind of a bit obvious at this point that I have Discordance. I have no idea where her friend went. Hey, dude. There you go. Legion requires, like, you gotta be pretty good at moonwalking. You see how long they're healing? That's good. That means they're busy doing other shit. It means they're not doing gens. They waste time healing, which is exactly what I need at this point. I'm gonna apply the Sloppy Butcher effect and capitalize on him. His two friends did not heal up because they have Sloppy Butcher, which slows down healing immensely. There you are, Steve. Ooh, that was a bit clumsy of me. But that was a beautiful down. He had no idea I was around the corner. Legion's breathing is quite quiet, and his footsteps as well. I think he's the best killer for moonwalking, to be honest. I know there are killers much shorter, but you know. Take this gen, let it regress a little bit. One guy's on the hook. This is perfect. Steve is killing himself. He's letting me win for some peculiar reason that I cannot understand. There you go. The guy is down. Capitalizing the injured Fang. Ooh, my bad. I thought she was gonna take that window. Yeah, she's got a resilient spine shield. She could have made it if she wanted to. Yep, a little bit of mind games. This girl is not down yet. I still get her. Even with resilient spine shield left. She might have a resilient spine shield to vault faster, but unbreakable. Another dead hard. Be very careful. Legion is quite weak during chase, not just because he doesn't have any abilities in the 1v1, but because they're injured, you're susceptible to perks like Resilience and Dead Hard that apply to survivors only when you are injured. Take these things into account here. Steve killed himself on hook. I have absolutely no idea why. But this is only an example game. It's not... Sorry, I just saw that Felix. I need to smash him in the teeth. This gen is still regressing. That's beautiful. That's perfectly fine. Oh, I didn't expect... yeah. I'm very unfortunate. Yeah. He already understood my thing. Yeah. These maps, they have way too much, yeah. They have way too much things to work with, unfortunately. This girl is dead hard. I'm gonna try to pass this game with as little gens done as possible. But look at this. Look how long this game has been going on, and 0 gens have been done throughout this entire time. Perfectly fine. That gen is dying. They're healing. In the meantime, gens are dying. This is perfect for me. Discordant's giving me viable information here. Amazing, amazing perk. Nice, amazing. Thank you so much for that. I know he was already injured, but I was able to replenish my power, and now he has to mend for another 13 seconds. I corralled him into this part of the map. 4-second stun, very, very painful, but something I have to endure. Yeah, I gotta stop spreading panic. At the end, you gotta put your foot down and try to down someone. Very, very friendly part of the map. 2 pallets, 1 window. He's got dead hard in addition to everything. Dead hard, another pallet, another pallet. Yep. Yeah. They're gonna be very sweaty for gens right now because Steve killed himself on the first hook. I have absolutely no idea why. Oh, very, very lucky. He's gonna take the window because this window is very easy. Doesn't require any type of thinking. But he miscalculated his distance and now he goes down. Legion has to always capitalize on moonwalking. Always. Since Legion is a weaker killer, you should be capitalizing on killing 1 or 2 survivors, tunnel the ever-living shit out of them. There is no other choice. Legion is not strong by any means. Yeah, you see? Yeah, she's got the killer shack pal, she's got dead art. Yeah, she's gonna create it. Don't be afraid of pals, just go right through them. You've got enduring. They're gonna pressure it. She's probably telling them, dude, I'm looping this Legion. There you go. Very, very greedy, very silly. Very survivor-friendly map. And yet here they are. Very smart team though. They know that they don't have anything to regress the gen, so they 99 all of them, make me feel like I have 5 generators, and then finish them off one by one. Interesting tactic. Feng is right up here, I can hear her grunts of pain. Strong loop, not much you can do here. There you go. Two jumps, 2 vaults, 3 vaults. You got Spinal Resilience, the perks to counter Legion, unfortunately. There's no mind game here, unfortunately. For no killer, by the way. I can't kill her. She has the best perks. This guy's choosing not to heal. That's perfectly fine by me. That's great. Again, this is me on red ranks. Yep. Very, very stuck. And she's got a long wall with a window here. I should have focused Felix, but I just didn't want to tunnel because survivors, you know, follow the rule book and such. She's faking it because she's got a very, very long run here. Oops! My finger got heavy. Yeah. She can just wait there. Look at that. So beautiful. The God window. It's so good. It's so good. Like candy. I got stuck. Like I said, you can close the hatch in Feral Frenzy. Not a lot of people knew that. She's got Dead Earth and she's gonna try to reach the exit with it. Dead Earth. There you go. There you go. Well, that's all she wrote. Thank you all so much for watching this tutorial on Legion. For the most part, I know that like this tutorial has been rather simplistic, but Legion is a simple killer. And like I always say, practice makes perfect, and this goes true for any and all killers in this game. Another quick tip for players that play on higher ranks as Legion, it is usually a better idea to capitalize on 1 or 2 survivors and focus them from the start of the game. I'm not saying go full-blown tunneling on them, because they will have borrow time, they will have decisive, they will have unbreakable. So it's not always the smartest of choices. What I'm saying is don't spread out and give all of your time and attention to long chases against all 4 survivors from the start of the game. It happened to me plenty of times that I hooked all 4 survivors countless times, but nobody's still dead. And for a killer that struggles in finishing chases like Legion, that is a huge time waster. You should focus on finding the weaker link of the team, killing him, slowing the game down, and moving on from there. Make the right choices is what I'm saying. Don't always commit for chases that last too long, or a survivor that seems very experienced and competent. Try to find his teammates that are doing gens. Don't go for the ones that are looking for you. And well, that's about it. Thank you all so much for this. And now a short technique on Legion that is very difficult to perform, but if you can nail it, then hey man, good job. Roll the clip. You saw that? Now what happened there was I entered Feral Frenzy, and there's only one instance in which Legion does not receive a stun and can leave Feral Frenzy immediately. That is if he is blinded. So I used my Feral Frenzy to vault the pallet, I got blinded, which cancelled my Feral Frenzy and resulted in a basic attack. This is very useful, for example, for a situation that there is a guy with a flashlight and he's injured on the other side of the pallet. He begins blinding you, you vault the pallet, he finishes blinding you, and then you basic attack and down him.